So handheld gaming has been dead to me. Up until now. A few months ago, I decided I want to get back into handheld gaming devices. And it didn't exactly go how I thought it was going to go. I want to walk you through what devices I have, what I ended up settling on, and why I decided to start getting back into handheld devices to begin with. Like, I love playing on this setup back here on the CRT TV, the Sony Trinitron. I love my retro PC Nook, where I get to play like late 90s, early 2000s PC games. I just love classic games across different platforms and eras and genres. But all those games required sitting down to like a dedicated gaming session, which I enjoy doing. But sometimes I wanted to like sneak away like 15 or 20 minutes of just like playing in bed or playing on the couch. So back in the day in 1999 when I was 10, more than anything in the world, I wanted a Game Boy Color. I used to have this flyer I'd keep in my room from Best Buy that had like the different Game Boys and different colors along with the games. And I would just like longingly hold it at night, just kind of staring at it, wishing I could have this red Game Boy with this Pokemon game. But it wasn't meant to be. It was not my time to own any kind of handheld device. It's just something I would daydream about. Thankfully, my wife Julia still has her childhood Game Boy Color. But yeah, because I didn't have that built-in nostalgia for it, it was tough to get into.
How did you play this when you were a kid?
I don't know, with squinty eyes? Not because I'm Asian. How did I see this? You don't know it can be better than this. So you're just like, oh my god, there's something on the screen. I'm like trying to get a better angle, but it doesn't exist. I feel like this is gonna hurt my eyes real soon. Okay, I don't care.
Like the screen is dim as fuck. It's tiny. It feels like going back a little too far into the past.
Like, where the fuck am I going?
As a kid, I didn't actually get into handhelds till the Game Boy Advance. So that's what I got. I borrowed a Game Boy Advance. I got a copy of one of my favorite games, which is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, along with a few other ones, and I tried playing. So I had all these like expectations as an adult, like I'm gonna get back into the Game Boy Advance, but it just didn't go that way. The screen was still too fucking dim. Like I couldn't see shit. I'm like, let me move on to the next Game Boy I had as a kid, which was the Game Boy Advance SP. Like this is the one I could finally see at night. So I tracked down a Game Boy Advance SP, same color I had as a kid. It had that cozy, familiar flip-up clamshell design. Even though the screen was front lit, it was just too dim. So once again, I'm like, man, am I just done with this shit? Like, should I just stick to my retro consoles, have my dedicated gaming sessions? If I'm bored, I just got my phone now. That's it. That's my handheld device. Then I remembered I had a Nintendo DS at my parents' house that I owned back in the day. So I busted that out. It did not turn on. I got lucky because even though this DS was broken, my friend AJ gave me his DS Lite. This DS back in the day was like my gateway into Nintendo stuff after the Game Boy Advance. Because I never owned an N64, so I missed out on a lot of classic Nintendo games. And for a while, it was fun. When I had the urge to reach for my phone, I did bust out this DS Lite. And then after a while, this similar feeling started creeping in, like kind of like a been there, done that feeling. So it got a little concerning. I'm like, man, maybe handhelds are dead. Maybe they should have stayed dead, and this whole pursuit is just a waste of time. And I got one more idea. The final handheld I played up until basically the end of high school was the PSP. At some point, I mentioned to my neighbor Alan that I was looking for a PSP, and he's just like, oh, I got one laying around, just take it. So the man gave me his old PSP. How crazy is that? Yeah, it's a little cracked up, but it works. I started getting these old PSP games I loved, like God of War, GTA Vice City, and Ratchet and Clank. And this was like taking me back to my handheld prime. Like this is when I used to just commute every day on the train, on the bus, and I had my PSP. This was like my media center, my movie, TV show, music machine, my main game console. Like, I don't know if Sony just put a gun to a bunch of engineers' heads and made them come up with something that felt impossible for the time, but this was a truly remarkable device. So obviously this is gonna hit. And for a long time it did. Like God of War was amazing. Vice City is still amazing. But even though the games were good, the experience wasn't exactly what I was looking for or anticipating. Because the thing with the PSP is it's still kind of like a game console. Like when I boot up Vice City, it's not that different from booting up San Andreas on my PS2. It's like, you know, there's all these title screens, there's a lot of loading, and it felt more like I was playing a portable console rather than like a quick handheld device, which it being a portable console was actually one of the appealing things about it back in the day. Kids really felt like they were holding a little PS2 in their hands. And I guess I wanted something to match my phone, where I just whip it out It turns on right away. That already sounds weird. And as fun as this PSP was, after a couple of weeks, same problem. I'm like, what am I doing? Like derping around with these little devices in my hands when I got all this cool shit to play. Am I just trying to like squeeze out joy from a place where it's just not going to happen? Back in the day after the PSP, I was pretty much done with handheld stuff. That was when the iPhone came out. I got one, and that was pretty much what I was glued to ever since. Many years later, I got a Nintendo Switch, and I had a mini handheld renaissance. I just got into a whole bunch of new games, but that didn't last that long. It made me feel like maybe my whole life, handheld stuff was just something I played when I couldn't play the consoles or PC games I really wanted to. Like, I really love and appreciate the history and significance of these handheld devices. Like I said, they got me through just tough parts of my childhood, and I have like really positive memories with them. But for whatever reason, nothing stuck. And then I started seeing these handheld devices online that are basically emulators. And at first, I was like pretty resistant to that. You know, if you've seen my other videos, I talked about how my preference is always to play on original hardware. So for a long time, I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, man, I don't want to get like some cheap little emulation device. It's not going to feel the same. I want the real deal. I want to feel like an excited kid, like swapping out the games. And then at some point, I saw this creator, Isaac OS, talking about something called the Anbernic RG35XXSP, which is like the worst name for what looked like the coolest little flippy emulator handheld I've ever seen. And so I just decided, fuck it, and I got one. You have no idea how big of a step this is for me, because I really did not want to like these things. I thought they were kind of cheap, and they wouldn't really play the games the right way, and they would just not be immersive enough compared to playing on original hardware. But I was actually pretty wrong. This thing really is what saved handheld gaming for me, because this thing was able to give me what I couldn't get from the other devices, which is just jumping into the damn game. And then along with that, save states. Because this thing can basically boot up a game immediately, you play it for a few minutes, you close it shut, and then next time you want to pick it up again, it just restarts where you left off from your save state. So I was able to get into these classic games that I just couldn't in the past. Like, for example, I always wanted a Super Nintendo as a kid, but was just not exposed to it. Didn't know any friends who had it, and it kind of passed me by. And so I'm like, well, why don't I finally just get to experience that on this thing? Like, sure, things I love and insist on playing on original hardware, I still do. I'm still like that with pretty much all CD-based consoles. Like, I don't have a PS1 yet, but I do want to get it soon. And I want to like actually experience Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and Resident Evil the way they were meant to back in the day. But for really unaccessible cartridge-based games, I'm like, fuck it, let me just play on this thing. Like, I've finally been playing through Super Mario World. I'm probably one of the last people on earth that has never played this game, and it is so fun. Like, just being able to lay down in bed for like 15 minutes at a time as a break and just like hop around with Mario, save my progress, and then just pick up where I left off has been so amazing. Probably in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do if I got into the original hardware right now. Same with Zelda. Like, the first Zelda game I played as a kid was Wind Waker. It's my favorite Zelda game, but I never played A Link to the Past. So I just started getting into that. The other thing I've been doing on this Anbernic was getting into arcade games. Similar kind of problem. I always loved arcade games, but I don't have space right now for like an arcade cabinet. I don't have the budget for like an original Neo Geo advanced entertainment system. And I've been reluctant to play on an emulator because I'm like, it ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, no, this is disrespecting the game. And now I'm like, life's just short, man. Let me play Metal Slug. Metal Slug! As a kid, I used to love arcades. I'm going to talk about that in a whole other video. But I used to go and play these arcade games, and I would like put in my one measly quarter, I would die, and then I would just watch other kids play because I just wasn't bursting with quarters. You know, I kept one on me. And now there's something so rewarding about seeing that "do you want to continue" sign come up on a game, and me being like, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I got another quarter right here. And I just hit the select button. And I was actually able to beat arcade games that I could barely get through the first level back in the day. I got Metal Slug. I got Bust-A-Move. I got this old plane shooting game I used to play as a kid. I forgot what it's called. And I'm like, oh, this is a little tiny portable time machine while still being intentional. I'm not putting everything under the sun on this device. I'm basically just going back to games I missed, games I always wanted, and I'm kind of getting a do-over, but on my own terms, on my own manageable level of difficulty. I think the biggest thing I took away from this was to just not be so rigid about retro games. It's not that I set out to be like a purist or a snob about original hardware. It's just I have a deep appreciation for original hardware in games, and I wanted to experience games the way kids actually did back in the day. Like, I wanted to give myself that chance because I just didn't have the means as a kid. But I feel like not everything needs to be experienced like that. Sometimes it is just about the essence of the game. Like Donkey Kong Country 2 still hits, even though I'm not playing it on the original Super Nintendo. Because this little Anbernic has such a bright, high quality screen, I feel fully immersed in it as if I'm playing it on a CRT TV. I can always go back and still experience these games on the original hardware later on. So yeah, this thing created an extra retro game moment in my day, and I feel more refreshed and stimulated after I'm done. It's like the opposite of how I feel when I go down like an Instagram rabbit hole. I'm not saying this thing is like a perfect replacement for your phone. I still go down the phone rabbit hole. It's gonna happen. We're all just like living in phone world. But just to have a part of my day where I'm completely offline, experiencing a classic game for the first time, or like replaying an arcade game I always wanted to play. There's definitely like a positive, noticeable difference in my mood and my energy after I play. And even the other day when I took the train to my parents' house, which is like a few towns over, just being able to whip this out and play with wired headphones on the train felt nicer than just scrolling the whole time. So yeah, I still love original hardware. I'm not gonna abandon that. I love how this complements my normal like retro game routine. I love how small it is, how long the battery lasts, how easy it is to just jump in and out of games. It just really surprised me. Even though this is like a modern thing and not technically a retro device, it's designed to feel like you're in the 90s. And the best part, there's no work emails on this thing.